Hey guys, Dantix here. The prelude to any Far Cry game release is cautious optimism, and Far Cry 6 is no different. I recently had a chance to go hands-on with the title for about 5 hours, which included the opening act, and I've been kindly asked not to show it to avoid spoilers. It also included an hour after the opening and further along in the story with many of the toys unlocked to play around with. The game was recorded at 1080p as COVID means we couldn't actually attend an in-person preview, so ultimately the game was streamed remotely to my PC. But you're here to see if this game is worth getting your hands on, worth your hope, or even your hype. I'm going to tell you right from the onset that if you're expecting anything groundbreaking or revolutionary, prepare to be disappointed. Far Cry 6 doesn't try to break the mold, instead it doubles down on the formula that's worked for the series thus far, and does it well. In what ways? That's what this short video will cover. Immediately after the game booted up, I was gripped by the performance of the main antagonist, played by the Breaking Bad star Giancarlo Esposito. I think I got that right. I found myself wanting more than this bite-sized taste, but his presence is felt all around the island, from paintings to voice recordings of him playing in outpost propaganda. Far Cry has always been about the mostly wonderfully realized villains, and Anton Castillo may shape up to be just that. I say may because even though I had around 5 hours to preview this game, it wasn't nearly enough time. I barely scratched the surface and I had to be metaphorically dragged away from the game. I can just as easily see Anton being a wonderful, vast level villain as I could see him being a repetitive and one-dimensional villain. So far they've put him in positions where he can beautifully monologue, showcasing the acting ability of Giancarlo, but that's all we've seen. Without spoiling the opening act, you can play as either a male or female thrust into the life of a rebel, fighting against Anton's totalitarian rule of the Caribbean island the game takes place on. Anton plans to thrust their struggling nation into the light by farming and selling a newly discovered treatment for cancer. It's unclear at this stage how effective this treatment is. All that is clear though is that he's indenturing his people into slavery to do it, the lucky ones getting a bullet. Initially, I kind of saw his reasoning for such an extreme measure, which gives me hope there will be some humanity in him. Unlike the story, the gameplay is easier to develop opinions on given the limited time. Like I mentioned, it's more of the same. You get thrust into an open world, the world is split into sectors controlled by different people, you explore, clear out military-controlled outposts, take side missions, follow the main missions, and more. If this is a formula you enjoy, there's much to revel in. The map seems huge as well. If I had to guess, I'd say it's far bigger than any map in any Far Cry game before it. Size would be nothing without it being filled with things to do. Thankfully, there are many surprises you run into along your travels, though I do have my concerns. There will be more empty space than usual in areas I haven't yet had the chance to explore. You can travel in a variety of vehicles, from cars with twin incendiary cannons strapped to the top and flamethrowers at the back, to assault aircraft. Though if you want to fly places, which makes travel a lot quicker, you'll need to take down the anti-air guns, which are within outposts of each region. This is one of the first things you may choose to do when entering a new area. You can also use your parachute or wingsuit to travel from high ground. Anakin. So you can approach situations guns blazing or opt for stealth. Most outposts have multiple entry points. For example, in one outpost I could enter from the water, or by ziplining over the walls from another area, or even knocking down the front door. The zipline method put me close to a power junction to turn off all the alarms in the outpost, letting me transition from a stealthy approach to guns blazing without worrying about reinforcements, which can escalate all the way up to attack helicopters, which absolutely shred you without prejudice. As I didn't have any weapons with explosive rounds, they scared me. Speaking of explosive rounds, Far Cry 6 is really doubling down on customization this iteration. All the weapons in the game can be modified with different ammo types, some being anti-personnel, anti-armor, incendiary, poison, which turn enemies against each other, and the aforementioned explosive, which is good against vehicles. Every enemy type has a weakness to a specific ammo type. Alongside different ammo, you can add sights, different stocks, and even mod your weapons with passive changes like more body shot damage. There are even special weapons like a harpoon crossbow and a pistol riot shield combo. You also fairly early on get a piece of gear called the Supremo that lets you hold 3 unique weapons like throwing knives, grenades, EMPs, claymores, and more. The Supremo also charges up the more you kill, letting you unleash a powerful ultimate ability. The first lets you shoot out rockets at your enemies like homing mortars. Over the course of the game, you'll get different versions of these Supremos with different abilities, like an EMP charge, and each version can also save a loadout, letting you switch between build templates. So, a guns blazing loadout with nades, or a stealth with throwing knives, for example. In my short time playing, I didn't even scratch the surface of what was possible. You can also find different armor pieces which all have their different bonuses. There will be something here for every playstyle. Alongside your gear choices, you can also pick an amigo, which is a pet that you can summon to your side. You get Guapo the crocodile fairly early on. This is your tanky guns blazing option, as there's no way to be stealthy when a giant crocodile is running through an outpost. When I was jumped ahead in the story, the frankly way too adorable sausage dog named Chorizo was unlocked. I admit it, he was my favorite and probably would be even if he did suck. Thankfully, he was still extremely useful. Using the power of cuteness and these little wheels, he would waddle over and distract enemies for you so you can do your thing and stealth around. Chorizo is non-threatening, so he doesn't aggro a whole outpost like Guapo does. Though, when you're engaged in combat, he will attack enemies for you, disabling them temporarily so you can take them out yourself. If you want a pet that does damage though, he isn't it. We also had a chance to use a powerful cock named Chicharron. I think that's how you pronounce it. Each amigo has 3 abilities though that unlock after you meet a particular criteria, all centered around using them and their abilities. For example, Chorizo unlocks Yes You Can by having him tag 36 loot containers. When you do, if you pet the cutie you get some health regeneration, encouraging mid-combat pats. The sound design is what you expect from a Far Cry game. Sadly, I had to eventually disable the music as there were some copyrighted tracks. Half the reason why I can't show all the footage I have collected. Music overall though wasn't to the epic scale of something like your Halo or your Mass Effects, but it did the job. The sounds though were top notch, from guns firing to even just moving weapons around in your hands having a very cathartic quality. If you're going to kill thousands of people, it might as well be satisfying. It remains to be seen if Far Cry 6 will be an instant classic or something just to get us through the year. Right now, it seems to be a fun distraction filled with upgrades to the formula that doesn't need to be changed. It's shaping up to have engaging characters, combat and exploration, and what more do you really want in your open world shooters? Far Cry 6 is coming to PC and consoles October 7th, so stay tuned to find out more. Like always, let me know what you think in the comments below and do the standard YouTube stuff. Thanks for watching, and until next time, ciao friends.